Hello, my name is Alexander Stewart, and I'm here to talk about sex, specifically the buying and selling aspect of it, and the fact that the United States of America is constantly in a back and forth battle as to whether or not prostitution should be illegal. I am here to tell you that legalizing prostitution is not a solution to the problems it causes. According to the website chartspin.com, in today's world, prostitution is legal in 77 countries, 5 of which have absolutely no laws regarding it, as well as 11 rural counties in Nevada. Now we ask why. Why would something that is so degrading to women be legal in 77 countries around the world? Well, they believe legalizing it fixes all the problems prostitution brings to hand, as in making a safer work environment for the workers, preventing STIs, and surprisingly, poverty. I have recently immersed myself in the subject of legalizing prostitution and whether or not it would make a positive impact or not on the people involved. I've read many articles and looked at many statistics from countries who have legalized it to countries who have not, as well as reading research reports from universities who have studied the subject. I hope to, by the end of this TED Talk, have enlightened your brains with information on the subject at hand, due to the fact that it is not talked about very much, yet is very prominent in today's world and has been for decades. Now, we ask ourselves, what positive impacts have legalizing prostitution made on the country? Have they fixed what people assumed they were going to fix? Unfortunately, legalizing prostitution has done close to nothing. As for helping the economy, there has been no change in lowering the unemployment rate. According to the state of Nevada, where prostitution is legal in 11 rural countries, they are still suffering from very tough economic times. It is hard to imagine helping the economy, though. Can you imagine your 18-year-old daughter coming up to you and telling you that her dream in life is to become a prostitute? I'm sure that makes mothers' and fathers' stomachs turn. It makes mine, and I'm only 18 years old. As we continue into this subject, another major belief people who are looking to legalize this was that it would cause sexually transmitted infections to go down. Unfortunately, we look at the countries who have legalized it, and the percentage of sexually transmitted infections have stayed about the same when it comes to whether or not the male is using a condom. As we can assume, not all men will abide by those rules. It seems that legalizing prostitution has made no difference into whether men are using protection or not. This puts the prostitutes at a very high risk of sexually transmitted infections, as well as possible pregnancies. We look at this, and we can assume that not many prostitutes are on birth control. There is no way to enforce that all of them are. First off, most do not have health care, nor can they afford it. This leads into another part about prostitutes and pregnancy. Next, we are going to look at another situation where legalizing prostitution has made it worse. Prostitution is not illegal in Canada, but there are very strict laws concerning it. These laws are supposed to make the prostitutes safer, but they've only induced more danger on them. According to abortiongang.org, a recent article posted in there describes what is happening to women who are sex workers in Canada. A new outcry from prostitutes has risen. 3 sex workers are currently attempting to battle Canada on their useless prostitution laws. In the article, they explain the sex laws and how dangerous they are for the woman working. The anonymous author says, "Here in Canada, prostitution isn't illegal, but communicating about it is. So is living off the avails, meaning sex workers can't hire drivers or security staff, as is running a bawdy house, meaning women cannot work in groups for safety. The rules are insane. It forces women to size up their johns in a matter of seconds before jumping into their cars. It puts countless women in dangerous situations because they cannot work together or hire security. Here is a prime example where legalizing prostitution did not help, yet make things almost worse. A huge stakeholder in this situation is the police force. There has been known brutality between police officers and sex workers and their pimps. Due to this fact, it makes sex workers wary of coming to the police officers even though what they are doing is completely legal. Society has morphed our minds to look at prostitutes as inhumane people that do no good. I mean, how concerned will society be if they hear that a sex worker has gone missing? Most people will say that she probably brought it upon herself. That is a huge problem today. We blame the victim by saying their actions asked for it. Yes, there will be consequences toward the person who did the crime, but the victim deserved their consequences as well. I believe that theory to be absolutely wrong. If your child got into a situation where she was taken because maybe she was wearing too short of shorts, and the judge on the file said that maybe she would not have been taken if she had been wearing appropriate clothing, I'm sure you would be livid. This goes for prostitutes as well. Yes, they are in this industry, but do you ever ask yourself why? Most women who are sex workers have been physically, mentally, or sexually abused, as I stated before. They have come to look at themselves as a worthless human being. If we continue this, soon the next generation will be growing up thinking it is okay to feel that way about themselves, when in reality it is never okay. If we legalize prostitution, children will start to believe that they owe their bodies to men and that they have no right to say no, which is false. We have been working for so long to obtain women's rights, and prostitution is just pushing us back even farther. I know the women who are involved in prostitution have made a life decision, but not everyone has the opportunity to have a job they love. Life happens. They did not choose free willing to become a sex worker. People started talking about legalizing prostitution around the time where sex before marriage started becoming more acceptable in today's society. Recently, society has been changing the ways of sexual relationships. Same-sex marriage has recently become legal, and sugar daddies have become very prominent in today's society. People are all about expressing their rights, and one of those rights may be the right to express yourself and to express the fact that your body is your body and you can do what you wish with it. Although, according to Ronald Weitzer, there is a claim that does not help the legalization of prostitution. It is that prostitution inherently oppresses women. The Coalition Against Trafficking in Women's Prostitution website says that all prostitution exploits women, regardless of consent. Prostitution affects all women, justifies the sale of any woman, and reduces all women to sex. Weitzer also states that legalizing prostitution is not the answer. He believes that it is detrimental in two ways. The first one, he states, legalizing prostitution will magnify all the existing problems associated with. Examples are violence against workers, spread of STIs, organized crime, and trafficking. The second way it is detrimental is you are basically providing an excuse for men to treat women with no respect and to expect sex from women whether they want to or not. If we look at legalizing prostitution from an economist's point of view, they will state that there is really no big impact that the buying and selling of sex will make on our economy. In certain countries, prostitution is legal, yet they are still suffering from tough economic times. A reason for this is probably because people do not want to become prostitutes. There is no appeal to a woman when you ask them to sell their bodies for money. Yes, it would cut municipal police spending by $11 million, but that is not necessarily the point. Without the police involved, sexual violence could rise. As stated before, most prostitutes have experienced sexual abuse or neglect as a child. The women who go through this feel like it is okay to sell themselves like this because in their mind they are worthless and deserve this kind of life. They feel as if once they become a prostitute, they can no longer obtain any other occupation, which is honestly true. If someone asks you what occupation you have been doing before, and you say prostitute, they will most likely not give you the job. They will look at you as like a filthy person and one that is not to be communicated with. Point is, legalizing prostitution has more consequences than pros. Do we really want our children to grow up in a society where women sell their bodies to men and men treat them as objects instead of human beings? Do we really want our children to grow up in a world where it looks as if you can never deny a man sex? That men have a right to buy women to fulfill their sexual desires? The answer is no. This is not what we need, and this is not what we want. Prostitution is a huge problem in today's world, and legalizing it could make it even more of a problem. Thank you.